Ladies and gentlemen, hear me today. Your life is not measured by the years you live, but by the moments you refuse to waste. Time is the silent gift God places in your hands every single morning. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it doesn't wait. It simply moves. We cry over what we lost, but we forget what we're still receiving: a new day, a new chance, a new stretch of time. And once a moment is gone, no amount of strength, money, or prayer can bring it back. You cannot negotiate with time. You cannot bargain with it. Time is the highest value you will ever hold. And some of us are living like time is infinite, like we can press pause whenever we like. But listen, every sunrise is a divine reminder that you are still becoming, still building, still writing a story only you can write. If you don't value your time, someone else will waste it for you. If you don't protect your time, life will distract you. And if you don't master your time, you will watch your own potential pass you by. Today, we are not here just to talk. We are here to wake up, to shift, to rise, to reclaim the moments we have left, because your future is hiding inside the hours you keep ignoring. Time is God's equal gift. Everyone receives the same 24 hours, but not everyone understands the weight of those hours. Think about it: a billionaire, a student, a mother, a laborer, an artist, a business owner. Every single one wakes up with the exact same amount of time in their hands. No one receives a bonus hour because they are rich. And no one is punished with a missing hour because they are poor. Talent isn't distributed equally. Opportunities aren't distributed equally. Resources aren't distributed equally. Time is the golden gift that comes in equal measure. What separates the fulfilled from the frustrated, the successful from the stagnant, the confident from the confused, is not what they were given, but how they invested the hours they had. Look around in your daily life and you will see this truth unfold. One person wakes up early, plans the day, works with clarity, and shows up with intention. Another person wakes up at the same time, or even earlier, but spends their morning scrolling through their phone, lost in the noise of everyone else's life. By noon, one person has already taken steps toward building something meaningful, and the other is still trying to start the day. They both received the same morning, the same sunrise, the same hours, but one treated time like treasure, and the other treated it like leftover change. Time is powerful because it is silent. It doesn't argue. It doesn't shout. It doesn't warn you when you're wasting it. It simply keeps moving, whether you honor it or ignore it. Many people don't realize how precious time is until life forces the lesson on them. It's like when someone loses a job and suddenly realizes how many hours they wasted doubting themselves instead of preparing. Or when a student fails an exam and realizes how many evenings were spent on entertainment instead of understanding the subject. Or when a parent looks at their grown child and wonders where the years went, because it feels like yesterday that child was learning how to walk. By the time we recognize the value of a moment, most of the time that moment is already gone. But those who understand the value of time early, those people become unstoppable. When you realize that every hour is a seed, you stop throwing them away. You start planting them. A person who values time doesn't wait for motivation. They create movement. They know that every great dream takes time, and instead of complaining about how long it will take, they begin. They know that the journey becomes shorter the moment they take the first step. Look at the world's most successful people, not just in terms of wealth, but in terms of wisdom, peace, and accomplishment. They're not necessarily the smartest or the most gifted. They are the ones who understood that if you use your time right, you can turn ordinary days into extraordinary outcomes. There are people who started with nothing but discipline and consistency, and over time, their dedication built them a life others admire. They are living proof that time, when respected, becomes a partner in your growth. Imagine two people planting a tree. One plants it today, waters it regularly, protects it, and stays patient. The other keeps saying, I will plant it tomorrow, next week when I feel ready. After a few years, the first person sits in the shade of their tree, enjoying its fruits, while the second person is still holding the seed, complaining about the heat. That is the difference in how people treat time. The seed was given to both. The opportunity was given to both. The potential was equal. But the one who respected time harvested the reward. You can see this in fitness, education, relationships, career growth, any area of life. Someone exercises for 30 minutes daily, even when they don't feel like it. Another person waits to feel motivated and ends up doing nothing. After 1 year, the difference is visible. They had the same time. They just made different decisions. Someone studies 1 chapter a day and another studies nothing for months. When exam time comes, the results expose the truth. Time always reveals how it was used. Someone invests small amounts of time learning a skill while another spends hours scrolling through meaningless content. After a few years, one is skilled, confident, and growing, and the other is stuck exactly where they were, except older. The truth is simple but powerful. The clock is unbiased. It doesn't care who you are. It only responds to what you do. You may not control many things in life, your past, your mistakes, your upbringing, your losses, but you control how you spend your time today, and that control is enough to change everything. Every minute carries potential. Every hour carries opportunity. Every day carries the chance to rewrite your story. When you understand that time is your greatest asset, you stop wasting it on people who drain you, habits that weaken you, thoughts that distract you, and fears that freeze you. You begin to invest your time in becoming who you were meant to be. And one day, when you look back, you won't just remember how much time you had, you'll remember how powerfully you used it. Your time shows your priorities far louder than your words ever will. Anyone can say they want success, discipline, happiness, or greatness. Words are cheap, they cost nothing. But time is expensive, it is precious. It is the real evidence of what you truly value. You can tell the world you want to change your life, but if your hours are spent on distractions instead of dedication, the truth is already revealed, because your life does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you do consistently with your time. Think about this in your everyday life. You may hear someone often saying, I want to get in shape, but their daily routine is filled with skipping exercise, overeating, and promising themselves they will start next week. Their words express desire, but their time exposes their true commitment. On the other hand, someone who wakes up daily, even tired, even unmotivated, even busy, and still chooses to move their body for 30 minutes, they are showing with their time what their priorities truly are. And when results come, it is not because they had luck. It is because they gave their time to what they valued. You can look at students the same way. Many say, I want good marks. I want a bright future, but then spend hours scrolling on their phone, watching entertainment, or wasting evenings with friends who have no vision. Meanwhile, another student quietly dedicates even 1 hour a day to studying, revising, understanding. They don't show off, they don't brag. They just give their time to their goals. And time, being the honest judge that it is, rewards them because their time aligned with their priorities. Success does not surprise you. It shows up exactly where your time has been invested. Let's take an example from relationships. People often say, my family is important to me. But if every day passes without giving them attention, care, or presence, the truth becomes clear. Meanwhile, someone else may work the same job, have the same responsibilities, face the same stress, but they use even 15 minutes to talk to their parents, spend time with their children, or listen to their partner. Their time shows what matters to them even more than their loving words. Time is the real expression of love, because you can give money, gifts, excuses, but you cannot give time without giving a part of yourself. Look at entrepreneurs or people who build something meaningful. Everyone around them may dream, talk, and imagine the future. But the ones who actually create something are those who take even small pockets of time and turn them into steps forward. While others spend their evenings complaining about lack of opportunities, these builders use their evenings learning, planning, improving. They sacrifice some comfort today for the future they want tomorrow. They don't need to tell you they are serious. Their time speaks loudly enough. Even in personal growth, the difference is visible. You can say, I want to be confident, but if your time is spent overthinking, doubting, comparing yourself to others, and feeding your fears, then confidence cannot grow. But if you give even 10 minutes a day to self-reflection, journaling, practicing speaking, learning a new skill, reading good content, you are showing time that you value becoming better. And time responds by transforming you little by little. What many people fail to understand is that you cannot hide your priorities, not from the world, not from yourself. Because every morning you receive the same number of hours, and where you choose to spend them becomes who you become. If you spend time with gossipers, you become a gossiper. If you spend time around dreamers and doers, you become one. If you spend your time angry, upset, and negative, life starts to feel heavy. If you spend your time learning, growing, and building, life starts to feel meaningful. Time shapes you according to how you use it. Imagine your day like a bank account. Every morning, without fail, 24 hours are deposited. You cannot save the unused hours. You cannot borrow more, and you cannot get back what you wasted. You have only one choice, how you spend it. Every time you choose a distraction over discipline, you are making a withdrawal from your future. Every time you give time to your goals, you are making a deposit into your potential. The results you see in your life are simply the balance of how you have been spending your hours all along. There are people who say, I want peace, but their time is given to negativity, arguments, comparisons, and drama. Peace cannot enter a schedule filled with chaos. Meanwhile, someone else spends even a few minutes each morning in silence, gratitude, or reflection. Their time shows their true priority, and peace builds itself around them. There are people who say, I want to start a business, but their time is spent watching others succeed instead of working on their own ideas. Someone else works late nights, learns skills, saves money, studies the market, tests small ideas. Their time reveals the truth of their desire. There are people who say, I want to change my life, but they repeat the same routine daily. Someone else takes one small step every single day. And over time, those small steps become a journey, and that journey becomes a transformation. So when you feel stuck, confused, or disappointed with your progress, take a moment to look not at your words, but at your hours. Your time will tell you everything. It will show you what you truly want, what you truly fear, what you truly avoid, and what you truly value. Because time is honest. Time is transparent. Time is the mirror that reflects your priorities. The life you dream of will not be built by what you say. It will be built by what you do with the hours that are in your hands right now. When your time aligns with your purpose, your potential has no choice but to rise. Time lost cannot be recovered, so protect it fiercely. This is a truth so simple, yet so many people live as if they have an unlimited supply of hours, as if life will grant them a second chance at every wasted moment. But the reality is clear. Once a minute passes, it becomes a memory. Once an opportunity slips, it becomes a lesson. Once a day ends, it cannot be lived again. That is why the people who achieve, who rise, who transform, all have something in common. They guard their time with the same seriousness with which they guard their dreams. Look at your daily life, and you will see how easily time escapes from your hands. You sit down to check your phone for just 5 minutes, and suddenly an hour disappears. You didn't learn anything. You didn't grow. You didn't move forward. You simply got lost in a blur of useless content. Or someone calls you to gossip, and what starts as a casual conversation becomes a long drain of your energy and your hours. You walk away feeling empty, yet you lost time you can never get back. Protecting your time is not about being rude. It is about recognizing that you cannot afford to trade your precious hours for things that do not enrich your life. There are people who waste years waiting for the right moment to start something meaningful. They tell themselves they will begin when they feel ready, when they have more money, when they have more confidence, when things get easier. But while they wait, time moves, life shifts, seasons change, and before they know it, opportunities they could have taken are gone. Those moments will never return. They are like doors that close forever once the time has passed. Meanwhile, someone else with fewer resources, fewer advantages, and less comfort took action with what they had. That person protected their time by refusing to let fear, doubt, procrastination steal it. Think about health. Many people ignore their well-being for years, thinking they can always fix it later. They skip exercise, eat carelessly, stay up late, stress too much, and assume their body will tolerate it because they are still young. But time is not something the body ignores. It keeps track of every habit. And when the consequences eventually come, people look back wishing they had treated their time differently. wishing they had protected their health instead of assuming they had unlimited years. You cannot rewind years of damage. You can only start now and protect the time that is left. Consider career and skills. A person who invests even 30 minutes a day learning something new grows in value, confidence, and opportunity. Another person says, I'll start learning next month. And next month becomes next year, and next year becomes a regret. You can build a powerful future by dedicating small but consistent amounts of time, but you can also lose that future by letting those same small amounts of time slip away unnoticed. Time is like money. Spend it wisely or watch it disappear. In relationships too, time cannot be recovered. A parent who is too busy for their children may one day realize the children grew up without them noticing. A partner who never makes time for communication wakes up to emotional distance. A friend who always postpones meeting someone they care about eventually wonders why the bond feels weak. Once those moments vanish, they cannot be recreated. You can rebuild, you can grow, you can change, but you cannot relive the past. This is why the moments you have now deserve to be protected. The reality is that most people do not decide to waste time. It happens slowly, quietly, subtly, through habits, distractions, and people who do not value your goals. There are people who drain your hours with negativity, arguments, unnecessary conversations, and drama. And if you are not careful, you will give your time to people who have no intention of using theirs wisely. But when you decide to protect your time, you start choosing who deserves access to your hours. You start valuing your peace more than someone else's approval. You stop apologizing for saying no to things that do not add value to your life. Protecting your time also means protecting your focus. Every time you shift your attention from one thing to another, you are spending mental energy. And when your mind is scattered, your time gets consumed without producing anything meaningful. That is why some people work 8 hours but produce nothing, while others work 2 hours with deep focus and achieve more. The difference is not effort. It is protection of time and attention. There will always be noise around you, distractions, temptations, unnecessary commitments, unimportant tasks. But you must decide what is worth your hours. You must ask yourself, will this help me grow? Will this move me forward? Will this bring peace? Will this matter in a year? If the answer is no, then let it go. Protect your time from it. Because your time is your life in motion. Every hour you waste is a piece of your future slipping away. Time is a gift that demands responsibility. If you protect it, it will reward you. If you waste it, it will leave you with regret. Guard your hours, respect your minutes, choose your activities intentionally, and create boundaries that keep your life aligned with your purpose. Because time lost cannot be recovered. But the time you protect can build the life you dream about. The wrong people will drain your time, while the right people will grow it. This truth is one of the most powerful realities of life, yet most people learn it too late. You can have ambition, discipline, dreams, and plans. But if you surround yourself with people who constantly pull you backwards, your time will be stolen without you even realizing it. Time is not only lost through distractions, it is also lost through the company you keep. The people around you either water your potential or weaken it. They either motivate your growth or consume your energy. And every hour you spend with someone who drains you is an hour taken away from your elevation. Look around your daily life. You will always find two kinds of people: those who move with purpose and those who move with chaos. Spend time with people who gossip, complain, blame, and stay stuck. And slowly you start absorbing their energy. Their problems become your problems. Their negativity becomes your mindset. Their lack of discipline becomes your habit. You may not even notice how much of your time they take until you look back and realize that days, weeks, even years have passed without you moving forward. That is the danger of spending time with the wrong people. They don't just waste your hours, they paralyze your progress. Consider how often someone calls you just to dump their stress and drama onto you. They are not seeking solutions, they are seeking an audience. While they finish the conversation feeling lighter, you end it feeling drained. You lose the energy you could have used for your own goals. Or think about the friends who invite you to hang out endlessly, not because they value your presence, but because they fear being alone with their own unproductive routine. They pull you into their cycle of laziness and distraction. And once you join them, your own dreams begin slipping quietly into the background. There are people who keep you stuck because they are stuck and they don't want to see you rise. They are the ones who say, relax, why are you working so hard? Or you take things too seriously, or you're changing. They laugh at your discipline because it exposes their lack of it. They are threatened by your growth because it reminds them of their stagnation. And when you spend your time around these people, you start shrinking yourself just to fit into their comfort zone. But the right people are different. They don't pull you backward. They push you upward. They don't drain your time, they multiply it. When you spend even an hour with someone who has purpose, ambition, and clarity, you walk away with ideas, motivation, and energy. They bring value, not chaos. They inspire you to do better, not settle. Being around the right people feels like sunlight, warm, uplifting, and life-giving. They make you believe in your own potential. They don't allow you to give up on yourself because they see the greatness inside you even when you doubt it. For example, imagine spending time with someone who is disciplined. Their habits naturally influence you. You see them working, learning, improving, and something inside you awakens. Suddenly you want to be better. If you sit with someone who talks about goals, opportunities, and growth, your mind shifts toward possibility instead of problems. If you sit with someone who makes excuses all day, your mind will soon be filled with excuses too. That is how powerful influence is. Think about a workplace scenario. There are employees who spend their time complaining, taking breaks, doing the bare minimum, and blaming others for everything. If you stand with them long enough, their mindset will pull you into mediocrity. But then there are employees who take initiative, learn new skills, work with dedication, and push for improvement. If you spend time with them, you naturally start becoming more responsible and more driven. The difference is not the company, it's the company you choose to keep. Even in family and friendships, this truth holds weight. You may love someone deeply, but love does not obligate you to surrender your time to their negativity or lack of vision. You can care about people without letting them control your energy. You can support them without letting them derail your plans. Creating boundaries is not disrespect, it is self-respect. And respecting yourself includes guarding your time from those who drain it endlessly. Sometimes the hardest part of protecting your time is realizing you must step away from people you've known for years. But longevity does not equal value. Someone can be in your life for a long time and still bring nothing but confusion. And someone you meet for a short time can change your perspective forever. What matters is not how long you've known them, but how they affect your time, energy, and growth. You must evaluate your surroundings honestly. After spending time with someone, ask yourself, do I feel inspired or exhausted, motivated or empty, clear or confused, better or worse? Your answer will tell you whether they align with your future or anchor you to your past. And when you choose people who align with your growth, your life begins to transform naturally. The right people challenge you, encourage you, and hold you accountable. They don't let you sit in self-doubt. They remind you of your purpose. They bring clarity to the moments you want to quit. They invest in your dreams because they respect your time. And when you walk with these people, you move faster, stronger, and with more intention. Your time is too sacred to be spent with people who are going nowhere. Protect it by choosing carefully who you allow to share your hours. Because the people in your life shape the direction of your life, and the direction of your life determines your destiny. Small, consistent steps compound into massive results. This is one of the greatest secrets behind every success story, yet it's the one most people ignore. We often think we need to take big leaps to achieve big dreams. We imagine dramatic changes, grand beginnings, or huge breakthroughs. But in reality, greatness does not grow from giant moves. It grows from the small, quiet, disciplined actions you repeat every single day. Success is not loud. Transformation is not sudden. It is the slow accumulation of tiny efforts that eventually create a powerful impact. Look at your daily life. You will notice that every major change you admire in others was built on small habits they practiced when no one was watching. A fit body is not created from one workout. It is built from small choices. Drinking water instead of soda, walking instead of sitting, exercising for 20 minutes instead of doing nothing. These seem small, almost insignificant, but together, day after day, they create visible, powerful transformation. Meanwhile, someone who waits for the perfect day to start exercising never moves at all. The small step is the difference. Think about learning a new skill. Someone who studies 20 minutes a day slowly becomes knowledgeable. They don't rush. They don't panic. They simply give a tiny portion of time daily. Another person waits for hours of free time that never come. After months, the person taking small steps is confident and skilled, while the one waiting for the perfect moment remains stuck. One grew because they understood the power of consistency. Small steps are powerful because they are doable. They don't overwhelm you. They don't exhaust you. They don't require special talent or dramatic motivation. They only require discipline. And discipline is not about doing big things. It's about doing small things repeatedly, even when you don't feel like it. Consider saving money. A person who saves a small amount regularly, an amount so small it feels like it won't make a difference, slowly builds a financial cushion. It grows quietly, steadily, until one day they look back and realize they have created something meaningful. Another person keeps saying, "I will save when I earn more." And without realizing it, years pass and they remain stuck in the same cycle, not because they lacked money, but because they lacked consistency. In relationships, too, small steps matter. Trust is built through small acts of honesty. Love grows through small gestures of care. Respect deepens through small moments of understanding. People often think relationships break from one big mistake, but most relationships break from the accumulation of small neglects. In the same way, strong relationships thrive through the accumulation of small, meaningful efforts. Even personal growth is driven by small steps. A person who reads a few pages daily becomes wiser than someone who reads nothing for months and then tries to cram an entire book in one night. Wisdom grows gradually. Confidence builds through small acts of courage, speaking up once, standing up for yourself once, trying something new once. These small moments add up and create a confident person. Look at nature. A tree doesn't grow overnight. It grows quietly every day, inch by inch, until one day it stands tall, strong, and unshakable. Grass grows so slowly you can't see it grow, but you can see the result. Flowers bloom through the accumulation of tiny processes inside the plant. Even mountains are formed through small layers accumulating over centuries. Nature itself teaches us that great things are never created instantly. They evolve through consistent effort. But the challenge is this: small steps often feel too small. People ignore them because they don't see immediate results. They say, "What difference will 10 minutes make?" Or "How will one small change matter?" And because they underestimate the power of small things, they end up doing nothing at all. But success belongs to the one who starts small and stays consistent. In daily life, consistency creates momentum. The more you repeat something, the easier it becomes. Habits form. Discipline grows, confidence increases, and slowly, without dramatic pressure, your life begins to shift. It is like walking. When you take the first step, the next becomes easier. When you take the 10th step, you begin to feel progress. When you take the 100th, you are no longer at the same place. You move because you kept moving. Imagine building a wall. You don't place all the bricks at once. You lay one brick today, another tomorrow, another the next day. One day you look up and realize that the wall is complete. That is exactly how success works. You don't build it in a moment. You build it through countless small efforts, each one placing a brick into your future. And here's the most inspiring part: small steps require no permission, no special opportunity, no perfect timing. You can begin right now. You can start small and still move toward greatness, even if you are tired. Even if you are busy, even if you feel slow, your pace does not matter. Your consistency does. Because small steps done consistently will take you further than big dreams without actions. One day, you will look back and realize that the tiny choices you made every day rewrote your entire story. And you won't remember which step was the hardest. You will only remember that you never stopped walking. Distractions are the enemy of destiny. They do not come with warnings. They do not make noise, and they do not appear harmful. In fact, the most dangerous distractions are the ones that feel harmless, small, and easy to ignore. They steal your time quietly, your focus slowly, and your dreams gradually. You don't lose your future in one sudden moment. You lose it in tiny pieces, stolen by distractions you thought didn't matter. Look at your daily life and you'll see how distractions operate. You sit down to work for just 20 minutes and suddenly your phone buzzes. You check a message just for a second, and that second becomes 10 minutes, then 20, then an hour. You weren't attacked by something big, you were distracted by something small, and that small moment of distraction cost you progress. Distractions don't need to be powerful. They just need to interrupt your focus long enough to break your momentum. Social media is one of the biggest examples. You intend to check one update or respond to one message. But these platforms are designed to trap your attention. Before you know it, you've scrolled through dozens of posts, watched random videos, and wasted half an hour that brought zero value to your life. And the worst part, you don't even feel the time being stolen. That's how distractions steal destiny. Silently. There are also emotional distractions. Someone says something negative, and instead of letting it go, you spend hours replaying it in your mind. You lose time thinking about people who aren't thinking about you. You lose peace over opinions that don't matter. This is a distraction. Not because you are wrong to feel, but because those emotions pull you away from what truly needs your energy. Think about gossip. It feels harmless to sit and listen or talk about others. It feels like just a few minutes of entertainment, but gossip is a thief. While you waste time discussing other people's lives, your own life remains unchanged. Meanwhile, someone else is using that same time to grow, learn, or build something meaningful. Gossip wastes time without giving anything back in return. Another powerful distraction is comparison. You look at someone else's life and start wishing yours looked like theirs. You scroll through achievements, vacations, successes, and perfectly edited pictures. And without realizing it, your mindset shifts from gratitude to insecurity, from growth to jealousy. You lose hours thinking about someone else's journey while forgetting your own. Comparison distracts you from your path and blinds you from your progress. Even overthinking is a distraction. You spend so much time imagining the worst, doubting yourself, replaying old mistakes, or fearing the future that you forget to take action in the present. Overthinking doesn't move your life forward. It freezes it. You may feel busy because your mind is active, but in reality, your life is at a standstill. Overthinking distracts you from the truth. Action creates clarity, but fear creates delay. People can also be distractions. Everyone around you has the same vision, discipline, or desire to grow. Some people are walking in circles, and if you follow them, you'll walk in circles too. They pull you into meaningless conversations, unnecessary dramas, and unproductive routines. They don't value your focus because they don't value their own. And if you're not careful, you will spend your life adjusting to their distractions instead of committing to your purpose. Sometimes, even comfort is a distraction. The comfort of staying in your routine, avoiding challenges, and refusing discomfort. Growth requires effort, discipline, and sacrifice. But comfort whispers, stay where you are. There's no need to change. That whisper is the voice of distraction, and many people waste years listening to it. Comfort distracts you from becoming who you could be. Distractions also come disguised as urgent tasks that are not truly important. You spend time responding to every notification, every request, every message, every small responsibility while your real goals remain untouched. You confuse activity with productivity. But being busy is not the same as being effective. And some people are so distracted by small tasks that they never touch the big dreams that truly matter. Imagine someone trying to run a race while constantly looking at the audience, checking their phone, stopping to chat, or getting pulled aside by others. They will never reach the finish line, not because they are slow, but because they are distracted. That is how most people live. They are not lacking potential, they are losing focus. But the moment you learn to silence distractions, everything changes. You begin to value your focus like gold. You recognize that every minute spent distracted is a minute stolen from your purpose. You start choosing what deserves your attention, and your time becomes more powerful. When someone tries to involve you in drama, you walk away. When your phone pulls you toward mindless scrolling, you put it down. When comparison tries to enter your mind, you remind yourself of your own journey. When negativity tries to influence you, you choose peace over noise. Your destiny is shaped by what you focus on consistently. And when you protect your focus, you protect your future. Distractions lose their power the moment you become intentional with your attention, because a focused mind is stronger than any obstacle. A focused life moves faster than any delay, and a focused person becomes unstoppable. God opens doors, but time management decides if you will walk through them. Opportunities come into every person's life, moments where something shifts, something aligns, something becomes possible. But opportunities don't wait. They don't sit around until you feel ready. They appear, and they require you to move. Many people think they missed chances in life because they weren't lucky, or because life was unfair, or because the timing wasn't right. But often, the real reason is simple. When the door opened, they were too unprepared, too distracted, or too disorganized to step through it. Life gives you chances, but your ability to use those chances depends on how you manage your time. You cannot walk through a door if you are still busy with things that don't matter. You cannot catch an opportunity if your time is consumed by habits that weaken you. You cannot rise to a new level while drowning in old routines. Opportunities demand readiness, and readiness is built slowly, quietly, through how you use your time every single day. Think about a student who dreams of getting a scholarship. The opportunity exists. The door is real. But if they spend their days wasting time, skipping studying, and delaying work, the moment the scholarship opens, they won't have the grades, the preparation, or the confidence to walk through the door. The opportunity was there, but time was mismanaged. In the workplace, imagine someone praying for a promotion. They want more growth, more income, more recognition. And then one day, a higher position opens. But while others spent time learning new skills, improving their performance, and building discipline, this person spent their time complaining, scrolling, or doing the bare minimum. When the door opens, they stand unprepared, watching someone else step through. Not because they lack potential, but because they didn't manage their time in alignment with their dreams. Time management is not just about being busy. It's about being ready. Ready for the moment when life presents you with something bigger. Ready for the conversation that could change everything. Ready for the chance that requires courage. Many people hope for opportunities but live as if they still have unlimited time to prepare. They say, I'll start tomorrow. I'll learn later. I'll fix my habits someday, not realizing that doors don't open according to their convenience. Doors open when they open. And if you are not ready, you watch someone else walk through. Think about someone talented in a specific skill, like singing, writing, or business. Talent is a gift, but talent without discipline becomes wasted potential. If someone is gifted but lazy with time, they may never meet the people who could elevate them, never build the portfolio that could showcase them, never develop the consistency needed to attract real opportunities. Meanwhile, someone with less talent but better time management ends up growing faster, achieving more, and becoming more visible, not because they were bettered, but because they prepared. Even in relationships, time management plays a role. You may desire a healthy, mature, loving connection, but if you spend your time in environments that reduce your self-worth, or if you waste your time on people who don't value you, you won't be emotionally ready when someone who truly respects you comes along. Doors open, but your choices decide whether you're prepared for what's behind them. Opportunities are like buses. They don't run on your schedule. They appear, they pause, and then they move on. The one who is prepared boards the bus. The one who is distracted watches it leave. You cannot chase destiny with a disorganized life. You cannot step into your future while mismanaging your present. Look at athletes. They train daily, even when no competition is near. Why? Because when the event arrives, they cannot suddenly prepare. They need to be ready long before the opportunity comes. That is how life works. The preparation you do today determines the opportunities you can handle tomorrow. Imagine someone who dreams of starting a business. The door may open, an investor may appear, a partner may approach, or a market need may arise. But if they have spent no time learning, planning, saving, or building the foundation, the door will feel overwhelming instead of exciting. Time management is what transforms opportunity from intimidation into empowerment. Your future depends on your readiness. And readiness depends on what you do with your time right now. Every small moment spent learning, improving, practicing, and organizing is a brick in the foundation of your future. Every hour wasted in distraction, procrastination, and meaningless activities weakens that foundation. Many people pray for growth, but live in ways that contradict what they are praying for. They want progress without preparation, results without routine, success without structure. But life does not work that way. Doors open when you have earned the right to walk through them through your discipline, your effort, and your time management. The beautiful part is that you do not need perfection. You just need consistency. You don't need 3 hours a day. You need the discipline to use the minutes you have. You don't need to rush. You need to build slowly. Because when your time habits align with your goals, opportunities become easier to recognize and easier to step into. One day, the right door will open for you. The question is not whether it will open. The question is, will you be ready when it does? Your growth has a signature, the habits you carry every day. You can dream as big as the sky, but if your daily habits don't match the size of your dreams, you will always feel stuck between who you want to be and who you currently are. People admire success, but they rarely look at the habits that built it. Every strong, confident, disciplined person you see is not defined by a single big decision, but by the countless small decisions they make every day, quietly, without applause. You cannot rise with habits that are pulling you down. You cannot expect transformation while repeating routines that weaken you. Growth is not just about wanting more. It is about becoming someone who can handle more. And becoming that person requires building habits that strengthen you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Think about the habit of waking up early. Most people say they will start tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes never. Meanwhile, the one who trains themselves to rise early starts each day with clarity, direction, and a head start. This small habit builds discipline, and discipline builds confidence. A student who wakes up early to revise, even for just 20 minutes, performs better not because they are smarter, but because they built consistency. Think about the habit of controlling your thoughts. You may not be able to control every situation, but you can control your reaction. A person who practices the habit of staying calm under pressure can turn chaos into clarity. Imagine a workplace scenario where everyone panics over a deadline. The one who has trained their mind to stay organized and steady will always stand out. People trust them. Leaders rise from habits like this, not from luck. Healthy habits shape your identity more than you realize. When you start taking care of your body through simple things, like drinking water, eating on time, or walking for 20 minutes, you begin to feel different. You begin to respect yourself. Suddenly you speak differently, think differently, and treat yourself differently. You don't need a full gym membership or a complete transformation. You just need the habit of choosing what strengthens you instead of what drains you. Likewise, emotional habits define how you interact with the world. Some people have the habit of holding grudges, overthinking, or assuming the worst. These habits build invisible walls around their lives, but those who practice forgiveness, gratitude, or letting go create space for peace, clarity, and growth. Imagine someone who always sees themselves as unlucky or unworthy. Their habit of negative self-talk becomes a cage. Someone who practices speaking to themselves with kindness creates a stronger version of themselves, one that opportunities can actually reach. Even in relationships, habits matter more than promises. You can promise loyalty, but if you have the habit of breaking trust, your promise is empty. You can promise consistency, but if you have the habit of disappearing when things get tough, your consistency becomes a lie. On the other hand, someone who has the habit of listening, understanding, or respecting boundaries brings stability and value to every relationship they enter. Their presence becomes a blessing, not a burden. Small habits also build your confidence in silence. For example, saving even small amounts of money every month builds financial discipline. While others spend impulsively and regret later, someone with the habit of saving becomes secure, independent, and prepared for emergencies. Confidence comes from knowing you are responsible with the resources you have. Look at someone who reads even 2 pages of a book daily. Over time, they evolve. Their thoughts become deeper, their communication becomes stronger, their perspective becomes broader. The habit seems small, but the impact becomes massive. Meanwhile, someone who scrolls endlessly every night slowly loses focus, discipline, and mental peace without even noticing it. The truth is, habits either build you or break you. There is no middle ground. And what makes habits powerful is their consistency, not their intensity. Doing something small daily beats doing something big once. Your future self is watching your present habits, hoping you choose better. Here's what most people don't realize: your habits decide your direction. If your habits are chaotic, your life will feel chaotic. If your habits are intentional, your life will feel purposeful. Every successful person you admire has built habits that match their goals. You can't want peace but practice chaos. You can't want strength but practice weakness. You can't want growth but repeat the same patterns that shrink your potential. Imagine a person trying to improve their life while still hanging on to habits that destroy their energy. They want progress, but stay surrounded by distractions. They want mental peace, but keep feeding their mind negativity. They want success, but waste time on things that offer no value. Their habits betray their goals. But the moment they change even one habit, like practicing gratitude, learning daily, planning their tasks, reducing screen time, or choosing quieter environments, their entire direction shifts. Growth is not sudden. It is built brick by brick, habit by habit. If you want a stronger future, start with one habit today. Something small, something manageable, something that strengthens you. Because the truth is powerful. Your future is hidden inside your daily habits. One day, people will admire how far you've come. They will think it happened overnight. But you will know the truth, it happened because you chose better habits every single day, even on the days when no one was watching. There is a kind of wisdom that does not come from books, advice, or loud voices around you. It comes from the quiet moments you spend with yourself. Time spent in self-reflection is not wasted time. It is the most profitable investment you can ever make in your own life. People run so fast in the race of life that they rarely stop to check whether they are even running in the right direction. They chase goals that don't belong to them, live dreams that were handed to them, and carry burdens they never questioned. But when you sit with yourself, even for a few minutes each day, you begin to understand your life with clarity that years of confusion can never provide. Imagine someone who keeps repeating the same painful patterns, entering the wrong relationships, choosing the wrong opportunities, trusting the wrong people. They blame bad luck or life itself, but they never pause long enough to ask, why do I make the same choices? Reflection exposes patterns you didn't know were controlling your life. It shines a light on behaviors, wounds, fears, and beliefs that quietly shape your decisions. When you reflect, you stop living on autopilot. You begin living with awareness. In daily life, we are surrounded by noise, notifications, conversations, responsibilities, pressures, expectations. It becomes almost impossible to hear our own thoughts. That's why self-reflection is powerful. It allows you to hear your own voice again, the voice that gets buried under the weight of the world. You discover who you truly are when you sit still and listen to your inner self without interruption. Think about a student who studies all night but still fails to improve. If they stop and reflect, they might realize they have been studying the wrong way, focusing on memorizing instead of understanding. A moment of reflection can save an entire year of stress. Or think about an employee who constantly feels undervalued at work. Instead of assuming it's fate, reflection might reveal they lack communication skills, or they avoid taking initiative, or they are in a field that does not match their natural strengths. Without reflection, they chase the wrong solutions. With reflection, they find the root cause. Time spent understanding yourself prevents years of regret. Some people stay in toxic environments because they don't pause long enough to ask themselves, is this situation helping me grow or draining me? They stay because they never reflect on how much of their life they are sacrificing. They stay because they confuse endurance with loyalty. But the moment they reflect, they begin to see the truth. They understand that walking away is not weakness, it is wisdom. Self-reflection also helps you recognize your own progress. Life moves fast, and sometimes you forget how far you've come. You forget the battles you've survived, the fears you've overcome, the challenges you've grown through. When you reflect, you appreciate your own strength. You stop comparing your life with others and start respecting your own journey. Even a small step becomes meaningful when you take the time to notice it. Reflection doesn't require hours. Even a few quiet minutes can change your entire perspective. Sit alone before sleeping. Take a walk without your phone. Write your thoughts in a notebook. Ask yourself simple but powerful questions. What did I learn today? What can I improve tomorrow? What habits am I repeating that hurt me? What choices bring me peace? These questions become a mirror that shows you who you truly are, not the version you present to the world, but the version that lives inside you. People often fear reflection because it forces them to confront truths they have been avoiding. It forces them to admit their mistakes, face their insecurities, and accept responsibility for their life. But facing yourself is not a punishment, it is liberation. When you understand your weaknesses, you can work on them. When you see your fears clearly, they lose their power. When you acknowledge your mistakes, you become wiser, not weaker. Consider someone who feels stuck in life. They think they need a new place, new people, or a new job to feel better. But sometimes the thing they truly need is a new understanding of themselves. Reflection reveals whether the problem is external or internal. It prevents you from escaping into temporary solutions. It brings long-term clarity. Self-reflection also strengthens your connection with your purpose. In a world that constantly tries to tell you who you should be, reflection helps you remember who you truly are. You begin to see what makes you different, what gifts you carry, and what path feels right for your soul. It helps you stop living for approval and start living with intention. And the beautiful thing is, clarity saves time. When you know what you want, you stop wasting time on things that do not align with your goals. You stop investing in people who do not respect your value. You stop running behind opportunities that are not meant for you. Instead, you walk with purpose, with focus, and with confidence. Reflection turns confusion into direction, noise into wisdom, mistakes into lessons, and pain into growth. It is not a luxury, it is a necessity. If you want a life that feels meaningful instead of chaotic, you need the habit of looking within. Because the answers you desperately seek from the world are often the answers that have been waiting inside you all along. When you take time to understand yourself, you save yourself from wasting years of your life walking blindly. You begin to live with intentional choices, deep awareness, and powerful clarity. And that clarity becomes the light that guides your steps into a stronger, wiser, more purposeful future. The most powerful use of your time is to invest it in becoming the best version of yourself. Many people spend their lives chasing external achievements, money, recognition, status, without realizing that the true measure of success is who they are becoming in the process. Time is the currency of life. And the greatest return on that investment is the growth of your character, your mind, and your spirit. Everything you do, every hour you spend, is shaping you into someone. So why not make it someone extraordinary? Look at your daily life. Every decision you make, even small ones, molds your future self. The hours you spend scrolling on social media, watching meaningless content, or gossiping don't just waste your day. They subtly shape you into someone distracted, reactive, and passive. Conversely, when you spend time reading, reflecting, learning, or practicing discipline, even for just a few minutes a day, you are intentionally building the best version of yourself. Every small choice compounds, every small action leaves an imprint. And over time, these imprints form the person who can achieve their highest potential. Think about someone learning a new skill like public speaking or a musical instrument. At first, progress feels slow. One day they stumble over words or miss a note. It's tempting to quit or to feel discouraged. But those who continue to invest their time consistently rehearsing, refining, correcting, and learning slowly become confident, capable, and extraordinary. Years later, that same person can speak in front of thousands or perform flawlessly, not because they were magically talented, because they respected the value of their time and used it to grow every single day. Even personal strength is built this way. Someone who exercises a little each day, sometimes when they don't feel like it, gains physical stamina, mental toughness, and discipline that extends into every area of life. The person who trains their mind through reading, reflection, or journaling gains clarity, wisdom, and resilience. The person who practices patience, empathy, And kindness builds emotional intelligence that can transform relationships, communities, and their own inner peace. These are not instantaneous results. They are the accumulation of intentional time invested in becoming better. Consider relationships. A person who consistently invests time in understanding their partner, listening, communicating, and supporting them strengthens a bond that lasts a lifetime. A friend who makes small gestures, checks in regularly, or encourages growth becomes invaluable. The time you spend nurturing these connections shapes the quality of your relationships. If you want a life filled with meaningful bonds, the answer is not luck. It is how you invest your time in the people you care about and in becoming someone who is worthy of those connections. Even in professional life, the principle is the same. A person who dedicates consistent time to learning new skills, improving performance, and building a reputation for reliability and excellence positions themselves to succeed. The same hours wasted complaining, scrolling, or avoiding responsibility are hours that someone else is using to pull ahead. The difference in outcome is rarely talent. It is the investment of time in personal growth. Your habits, mindset, and discipline are the invisible forces that determine the tangible results you achieve. If your goal is financial independence, your time should be invested in understanding money, developing skills, and creating value. If your goal is health, your time should be invested in exercise, nutrition, and mental wellness. If your goal is knowledge, your time should be invested in learning, reflecting, and applying what you learn. Time does not discriminate. It rewards what is consistently cultivated. Even small moments matter. Reading 10 minutes a day, reflecting 5 minutes before bed, practicing gratitude each morning, helping someone once a week. These tiny investments shape the version of yourself that you will be tomorrow. One day, when you look back, you will realize that the hours you spent deliberately investing in yourself created opportunities, strength, and wisdom that would have been impossible otherwise. The key is intentionality. Life will fill your hours regardless of whether you lead them or not. If you do not consciously invest your time in becoming the best version of yourself, life will invest it for you, and the result may not be what you hoped for. Every idle moment, every wasted hour is a lost opportunity to strengthen your mind, body, spirit, or skills. Conversely, every focus moment, every disciplined choice is a step toward becoming the person you aspire to be. Time is not just a resource, it is your life unfolding moment by moment. When you respect it, protect it, and invest it wisely, it becomes your ally. When you ignore it, it becomes your enemy. The most successful, fulfilled, and extraordinary people are not those who had more luck, more talent, or fewer challenges. They are those who treated every hour as a chance to improve, grow, and evolve. Every day, you have a choice to spend your hours on what diminishes you or on what elevates you, to become passive or intentional, to drift with the currents of life or steer toward your purpose. Investing your time in becoming the best version of yourself is the highest calling you can answer, because the person you become determines every outcome in your life. Relationships, achievements, peace, happiness, and fulfillment. When you look back years from now, the question will not be how many hours you had, it will be how you used them. The hours you invest in yourself consistently and intentionally will create a life that feels purposeful, strong, and extraordinary. That is the ultimate power of time. It does not wait for you. But if you use it wisely, it will reward you with a life worth living.